Good afternoon and welcome to yet another edition of the program International Forum. I am Wilson Marshall. Well, today it's all about what is happening in Belarus. You might have heard about Alexander Lukashenko, talking about the president of Belarus. He's been there as president for 26 years and counting. Now, one peculiar thing about Belarus is that they have this direct link to Russia. The economy, their politics, even their gas supply, electricity, they are all connected to Kremlin. And of course, when I get to hear the term Kremlin or the name Kremlin, we're talking about the capital of Russia, and one name comes into one's mind: Vladimir Putin. Well, it's not about Putin right now, it's about Lukashenko, Alexander Lukashenko, that conducted an election, and people like saying that it was marred with irregularities, that the election was rigged in favor of this man. And Belarus has been thrown into confusion, into turmoil, into fight, unrest. Political unrest in Belarus, a threat to democracy. That is what we want to talk about this beautiful afternoon on International Forum. With me here in the studio is a legal practitioner, a political analyst. Join me to welcome Barrister Osanho Osazua. Barrister, welcome to International Forum.
It is always my pleasure being here.
All right. Now, pundits are of the opinion that it's only African leaders that have this mentality. They coined a word for it: sit-tightism. And right now we're seeing it played out in other spheres of the world. We're talking about developed countries right now. In China, you get to hear them bending the constitution. In Russia also, flexing constitution. Even right now in Belarus, 26 years and counting, Alexander Lukashenko is still there despite the hues and cry. Talking about the election, the citizens are coming now to protest, and of course the brutal force of the police is not even having an issue. What are your views on this?
Thank you very much, Wilson. When we are calling naming countries, they're not tending towards totalitarianism or sit-tightism. How do you put it?
Yeah, sit-tightism. That's the word they coined for some of our African leaders that want to remain in power for a long period of time.
Okay. I was waiting to hear the United States do.
United States.
Anyway, looking at what is happening in Belarus today, or what has happened in some African countries, some Latin American countries, and some Asian countries, you see persons who come to power via the electoral process, through democratic process. They became head of states, they became prime ministers, or they became presidents, as the case may be. With time, it is said that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The glamour of the office, the wealth and the prestige that come from that office tend to, with time, corrupt the holder of such an office. And that's why we see today in Belarus, since for the past 26 years, someone, a single person, has been, since 1994.
Yeah.
He has been there, refusing to power. Even when he has the ovation as it's no longer allowed for him, the people are not fed up with him and they want him to go. But you see him doing everything he can, turning, twisting, altering, and muzzling the constitution, and buying people around him just to change the system so that he can perpetuate his hegemony and perpetuate his continuation in power, irrespective of the desire of the people who wishes for change, who wishes to make things anew, and to put new persons there, new faces there. So it is the nature of man. That's the way we are. It has nothing to do with African being black or being Asian. It is everywhere. Even today, we see what's happening in the United States, what Trump is doing. The issue of the post office and everything is trying to just to maneuver and manipulate the system so that you can keep your hegemony so they can continue where you are. It is human nature, my brother.
Yeah, all right, now if you take a look at the election, according to the Electoral Commission in Belarus, and of course according to the words also of Alexander Lukashenko, he won with landslide margin. This is the sixth term, and that means it's like some persons or majority of the Belarusian citizens are saying they love this man. For you to win a landslide margin, think about it. What is wrong in it?
80.1%.
Yeah.
It's really landslide.
That is humongous. I saying the victory is so resounding.
The landslide. I am hard pressed.
Yeah.
And hard put to think where he got those figures or who actually voted for him. Is it not the same Belarusians that are on the streets protesting every day? Even the survey, the few survey that they did before the election, that young woman, 37 years old, Vatlana, we saw that she has always been ahead since. So I wonder where Lukashenko now got 80% vote of the electorate. So it is.
But there is that what they say may prefer for what the vote will say. You get to hear opinion polls, doesn't matter when you come to the actual day of voting. Belarus
is not, it's just about 9.8 million persons there. And we have seen thousands, if not millions of persons marching the whole place. Even the workers, state workers, you heard them when they were booing, when they went to the state-owned factory the other day, trying to razz them, to appeal, to promote their sentiment and say, hey, look, I'm working. But they were booing him. Even his people, state workers, not private, people who are working, they were booing him, shouting, leave, leave, leave. That's what they told him. So begin to wonder if his employees are booing him. One is now wondering where they got the 80% votes of the electorate that voted for. Where did they come from? Did they fall from Mars or from Jupiter or from Pluto? Definitely not Belarusian that voted for him that gave me 80% of the vote. That is clear. The European Union and other observers have come to say that this elections is massively rigged. Like he has rigged all elections since 1996 when he came in, since 1994 when he came in. So he keep manipulating, he keep altering, he keep falsifying the system just to perpetuate his hegemony. And that's it. And the time has come. The average Belarusian is sick and tired of Alexander Lukashenko, and they're telling him now, go. They can breathe fresh air today. They can say that there's a sense of urgency today that, look, if we push a little harder, we will get results. That is why they are not relenting. That is why for these past few weeks, you see them eating the streets, the protest continues, and the momentum keep going. You cannot kill everybody. You cannot shoot everybody. You cannot arrest everybody. There is no prison to contain them. And the Belarusians realize this, and they are ready to take their destinies in their hand, and they are on the street today.
Ready to take their destiny in their hands, and they are on the street. But take a look at how Lukashenko came into power. He was the one championing the fight against corruption. Take a look at Belarus right now. They're not only doing that bad when you talk about the economy and, of course, the society. So why are they complaining?
The economy, my brother, is in shambles. The economy has been ruined by the refusal, Lukashenko refusal to open up the economy mostly to the West. He had this close-knit relationship with Kremlin, with Moscow. And it seems he gets everything directly from Moscow. And the economy is not competitive. People are not coming in from outside of Russia and Belarus to invest. And it has affected them. And they are also heavily hit by COVID. Here is a president who when Belarusians were dying of the coronavirus, you saw him skiing on the ice hockey, playing golf and all those stuff, like his brother is somewhere is doing. So he has been dismissive of the whole thing. And it's not if the economy were good, if the average Belarusian was enjoying, if everything was booming as it ought to be, nobody, they wouldn't care much. They wouldn't care much for his faults, for his shortcomings and other things. But no, on the economic front, they are confronted with economic difficulties. They are confronted with health issues that has now been made more difficult by the coronavirus, confronted by so many things, and now they go to the polls the only way they can decide who governs them, the only way they can decide the kind of future they want. They all go there. It's like they went there to waste their time. It's like they went there to just for nothing, for the fun of going out, say, I went to vote. And the election was massively rigged in favor of Alexander Lukashenko. And that is why they are shouting today. That is why I believe in the next few weeks, Lukashenko must go. The question now is, how far is he willing to go to remain in power? How many blood is he willing to shed to remain in power? Because the average Belarusian is ready to shed blood today. And if it doesn't go, there will be great consequences.
Now, all right, now, because some of the opinion that this is just a fight between pro-Russia and, of course, pro-EU. How do you view this?
No, not at all. Not at all. People have been making comparison with Ukraine of 2014 and Belarus of 2020. No. The Orange Revolution that happened in Ukraine then, it has more to do with severing ties with Moscow and having more trading, opening Ukraine to Western influence. But in Belarus today, that's not it. They don't have any issue with Moscow. They understand that they have this close-knit relationship with Moscow. Belarus can never say, if you go to the street, nobody is talking about they don't like Putin or they don't like, and that's why Putin has been very calm about it. Yes, he has almost been taking the side of the protesters. Even when this guy tried to drag him, say that NATO they are doing military drills on the Lithuanian borders.
Yes, in the borders.
That they are doing drills. That he is hoping that Moscow will come to his aid, that Putin has assured him that, and Putin never assured him. He's just trying to raise sentiment and to raise fear. All these leaders, they peddle in fear. They want to see the next person as the enemy. That's why they maintain their hegemony in power.
But according to him, Moscow or Kremlin, they have this agreement with Belarus that if they need any military help to maintain law and order, Russia is bound to respect.
Yes, the military help that they needed, or that they still need, is not to come and start shooting the average Belarusians protesting on the streets. That's it. It's not to start to use Moscow force to clean the streets or protesters for Lukashenko. No, it's when there is an external aggressor. That's when Russia will come to the aid of Belarus. But as we speak today, there's nothing like an external aggressor or a foreign power. No, not at all. It is the Belarusian people today that are protesting against an election that has been massively rigged in favor of the status quo. It is they are wanting change, and Moscow realize what is happening, that this is strictly the domestic affairs of Belarus. Belarusian protesting against bad leadership. There is nothing has to do with NATO, nothing has to do with Lithuania or Poland or the other neighbors of Belarus to the west. It is purely an election that has been rigged, and people are seeking for justice. And to Putin's credit, he realizes that.
All right. Now, if you take a look at the situation right now on the ground in Belarus, you get to realize that somewhere along the line, this is degenerating very, very fast. Do you see the case of Syria happening in Belarus? Because it's all about leadership. One holding so firm and so tight to power. He doesn't want to relinquish it, just like what Assad did and is still doing right now in Syria.
Yes, you see, I said earlier that a key determinant today is how far Alexander Lukashenko is willing and ready. To what extent is it, to what price is he ready to give to remain in power? Because from the body language of the Belarusians today, they want a change. They are sick and they are tired of him. They just want him to go. And I strongly believe that they have resolved amongst themselves that unless and until Lukashenko goes, they won't rest. That is on one side. On the other side, Lukashenko himself, to what extent, what amount of bloodshed is he ready, is he willing and ready to shed to remain in power? So if he has told himself, come what may, if heaven falls, he will remain in power, then there will be bloodshed in Belarus. Then we have a Syria kind of situation on its way. That's the truth.
All right, now, from what is really happening, you said according to the determination or the willpower of Lukashenko to press or to be somehow adamant. Now, don't forget that we have an opposition. Yeah, they've been there speaking true to power. Those who've been exiled right now. no matter what plays out in this scenario, do you see her coming in to lead the Belarusians into what they term the promised land?
Yes, thank you. If you have listened to that young woman speak, you will tell yourself that you have never seen a plainer talker. You have never seen a plainer speaker. There is nothing charismatic, nothing. She's just an ordinary housewife, like she keeps telling everybody. She was forced into this. If you recall, it was her husband that was running. Her husband was prevented from registering, and then he was arrested. Okay. Then the second person following the husband, the most popular person, that one was also arrested, and the third person had to flee Belarus. So it's like nobody wanted to take up the mantle. That's why she came in. And when she has told the Belarusian that she's prepared to go as soon as Lukashenko goes. She's not in for it, for the office.
Then if you're not in for the office, why the pressure?
No, she ran because she realized there's need for change.
It's just like the Belarusians, they just want her to come take over.
Yes, because they are sick, they are tired of this totalitarian government of Lukashenko. Since 1994, here's a man who thinks who cares only about himself. Who has done everything to manipulate the system. When he came initially in 1994, his term was a five years term. That he has 2 terms of 5 years each. So he should have left in 2004 maximum. Do you know, when he was finishing his first term, he now said he wanted to make it 7 years of 2 terms. So after manipulating the system, bending the hand of parliament, they gave him. So when he was doing the second 7 years, he was about to finish. He now made it. He now removed the term limit that you can be there as long as the people want you. The people want you.
Did right now.
Yes. So when he now did that, that's what has enabled him to be there. And if they don't stand now to remove him, he will be there till he dies. That's just the truth. He's prepared. He's a dictator. He's a lover of power. Yeah, these are the same people that the immortal Thomas Gray said that the men who waded through are slaughtered to the throne and then shut the gate of mercy on mankind. That is the kind of person Lukashenko is. And the people have not come to realize that that's he. You cannot be there. You cannot be the president because you are being able to manipulate the system. Where is the place of law and order? Where is the place of justice? Like the great St. Augustine says, remove law and justice. And what are states but gangs of criminals on a very large scale? Remove law and justice. What are states but gangs of criminals on a large scale? That is it. He has been able to make Belarus its own private affairs, its own small safe-done. It's not the king over there because he has been able to, he got there and now he has shut the gate of mercy on the rest of Belarus. So the time for change has come. And that woman just happened to represent the face of change today. She was just bold enough to step forward, to be counted. That's just it. She was bold enough to step forward and be counted. And now she had, and she didn't even know what she was doing until the moment came.
Are you sure she didn't know what she was doing? Because from the way she's talking, this lady is an activist. I don't think that she's been positioned there to serve as that face to fight Alexander Lukashenko.
Yeah, she was pushed there by faith. It's not nobody,
by faith or by personality.
No Western influence. People like to think it's the West trying to plant somebody there to foment trouble in Belarus. No, it was the time for change came. People are sick and tired of this man. You just been there for life. And when this guy came, she was just about 9 years when about 11 years when Lukashenko entered power, and now she's 37. You understand? Yeah. The other guy that was so around, that woman that was also that one said that that he was 2 when it was just 2 years when Lukashenko came, and now his own daughter is 2 years. So what will now happen? They don't want to wait for that his own daughter will not be under 26 years and Lukashenko will still be there. The guy asked to, if we are doing well, maybe they would have considered him, but he's not even doing well as the president.
All right, now if we take a look at what is happening, there is this case of police brutality right there in the video we are showing you, courtesy the Telegraph. All right, now don't you think that NATO, if you want to go with the fear of Alexander, that they may react to this, they may respond to this to really ensure law and order that are just there violating fundamental human rights. Now, these are the policemen sent by Lukashenko to quell the protesters. He called them rats. So what do you think will happen in this case? Do you see NATO responding? Because other EU countries have been talking tough. France, Macron did his bit, he talked about it. Do you see an incursion from without Belarus to really quell this trouble?
Yes, thank you. You see, it has to do with your conscience too. And that is why, as we speak now, several top police chiefs in Belarus have resigned. And they cannot continue to allow themselves to be used to oppress the very persons they entered office to protect. That Lukashenko cannot turn them as angels of darkness to oppress their fellow citizens. So several of them have resigned. Of course, in every system, we have those who will not want change. Those who directly benefit from the system, they want to perpetuate themselves there in power. So that we have some few callous policemen still trying to fervently and how do I say it, now zealously do their jobs, so to speak. But I think most of them realizes the time for change has come. That is why even I think there's this ambassador that also defected yesterday and said no, that no, we cannot take this again. And several persons like that, they have come to realize that Lukashenko cannot continue to use us to maintain himself in power. But then you see some gory pictures, some gory images coming in from Belarus, of police brutality, or people being arrested and packed. In fact, all the jails as we speak today in Belarus, they are filled up. Every day they are arresting more than 2,000 persons, and they keep upping it. And the good thing is that the protesters have decided that no, they are not going anywhere. Arrest all of us, shoot all of us, we will still be here. That is why I have come to the conclusion that a change will come. Something got to give, something got to break. Okay. That the people breaks, or Lukashenko breaks.
Now, don't forget also that Lukashenko, his supporters also, they came out to march in solidarity with Lukashenko. They say they love the way he's governing Belarus. So how do you think these all will pan out?
Let me ask you, did you see the footage of those scanty persons, very scanty? And I know the gist there. They were saying they will not get their salaries for the next 2 months if they don't come out, the government workers, if they don't come out and join the protest, that you won't get paid. And you have
pro-Lukashenko.
Yes, you have children at home to be fed and your house rent to pay, and they say if you don't come out to protest, you won't come out. You come out. So that the few that came, because of the threats they got that they won't get their salary, that's why they came out to march, and they were still very, very scanty.
All right, now, although you've said depends on the persistence of Lukashenko, now do you see an end to this squabble in Belarus? Because right now we're talking about police brutality, we're talking about maltreatment, we're talking about insult, abuse, massive abuse of human rights in Belarus.
You see, ordinarily, Belarus was supposed to be one of the industrial hubs. In fact, it was one of the main producing center of the default Soviet Union, and very closely also aligned to Moscow. Why am I saying this? See, when the United Nations was formed, Belarus is one of the original 51 countries of the United Nations. So what we have today is a country that has failed to meet its potentials. Do you know that Belarus had nuclear weapons before they not deliberately gave out their nuclear weapons? One of the very few to have done that. It's a major power that mismanagement since the fall of the Soviet Union has caused. So the violence today will not. People. It's like you are being shortchanged. Your collective destiny is being how do I put it now? Is being suppressed by one single individual. So unless you want to remain where you are, unless you want Belarus to remain where it is today, maybe the protest will end, to answer your question. But I don't think the people are really sick and tired of this man. Not only for themselves, but also for the country itself. It's also be a big shot. So it will be an industrial hub. So I don't think people will not. It's no longer business as usual. Like the previous elections, they will just go to the street for a few days, and then they accept that Lukashenko they'll go back and things will continue the way it is. But now there's something different about this, and the also good thing is that Russia is playing a very mature role, not trying to say not necessarily be on the side of Lukashenko. Even though you're not openly saying it's for the people, but it's not manifestly not taking the side of Lukashenko. Even when the guy is trying to bring in Putin, saying that he has called Putin that their NATO is doing drills in his border, those stuff, which is just distracting from the issue that you rig an election and people are angry.
All right, now if you take a look at situations surrounding the world, countries that have done this type of, how would I put it now, overthrow of a particular leader that have been there for quite a long time, it doesn't really pan out well or fine for such countries, for Tunisia, Egypt, Libya. Now these are some countries that really chased their leaders.
Yes.
But nothing seems to be going too well for these countries. You see Belarus falling into that category?
Not at all. Apart from, I don't know any country that has a dictator for a long time that was driven away and then the people crumbled. Maybe apart from Libya. You mentioned Tunisia, you mentioned Egypt. Egypt is still surviving, Tunisia is still surviving. Apart from Libya, we know one Mobutu Sese Seko Undu was a bongo, what he did in. And so what he did in Congo, DRC, we know of so many dictators over the years that plundered, that turned the collective wealth of the people and pocketed them and make them his own. So we know of them. And so apart from maybe Gaddafi that was doing very well for his people, and then because of malice and other stuff, because he knew too much, the powers bloc in the world couldn't continue to stomach him, because he knew too much and he had to go. So that's that. So, but for Lukashenko, it's not, like I said, it's not that he's doing fantastically, he's doing very well for his people, that the people are prosperous or the nation is prosperous, and then no, he's a man who has run out of ideas. He's a man whose time has passed. He's a man who, if he had any good for the people, the good has been spent. He's a spent force, so to speak.
Spent force, so to speak.
Yes.
How do you mean a spent force?
He has nothing else to offer. There's nothing about him that can improve the life of the average Belarusian. They think the time has come for him to leave the spotlight. Let someone else step into it, and let's see what happens.
All right, let's see what happens if someone or when someone else steps into the spotlight to take over the realms of leadership in Belarus. Well, this is an abridged version. I hope you understand. Now, what's your last line for leaders taking a look at what is happening right now in Belarus? Even in Ivory Coast also, they have their own squabble. Ouattara wanted to go for a third term and is leading to a serious, massive crisis right now in Ivory Coast. Belarus complaining about the longevity, so to speak, of this Lukashenko, 26 years and counting. What advice do you have for our leaders globally for them to maintain law and order, even in their domains?
Yes, it is not just happenstance or a mistake that you see great leaders, great in the most absolute sense of the word, great. Those leaders, the greatness of those leaders does not correspond to their longevity in power. It has to do with what they did for their people, given the time that they did it. Are you getting it? So it's not necessarily by stay put. In fact, the more you stay in power, the less of a great man you are. It shows you are just the average man with the average human nature of greed, of love for power, you are just a time server. There's nothing eternal. There is nothing deep about you. You are still floating on the surface. All right. So when we see leaders like this trying to grab all they could, it's just mere materialism.
Thank you.
And nothing and no substance.
Thank you so much, Barrister Sahos, as well, for your wonderful analysis. We'll keep watching what is going on in Belarus. Hope that peace will definitely return to that country. Bye for now.
This is ITV, certainly the best.